Hey guys, I'm back. I know I've been out for a while, I've been busy with school and stuff, but now I'm back and I'm gonna give you guys a little update on what I've been working on. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how I use the Weather API to put live data onto my OLED display. So for the circuit itself, it's pretty simple. All you guys really need to focus on is just the OLED display and it's connected to the Raspberry Pi right there. Everything else is kind of just from previous old projects that I haven't cleared up. So for this one, all I'm going to be using is the OLED display. So I'll show you guys the API that I'm using. I'm using Open Weather API. It was free. I just made an account, and the main thing you want to get from these APIs is here. Give it a second. Is the API key, because this key is important to use in your program to actually get the data. So I'll show you guys the program that I have. So right here I imported JSON and I imported all these little modules to help me read data from the API and to display it on the OLED display. So one thing you guys want to look at is import JSON. This is important because whatever format the API is in, this helps, using a command, this helps convert all that data into something that's readable for Python to use. I'm importing Adafruit to help me actually display stuff on the OLED display. It helps me communicate to the display what to put. These are just little functions to help simplify the way the commands to display it on the OLED display. Over here, I'm just initializing the display. I'm initializing how much I want the OLED display, like the parameters of it, how much width, height, what font and stuff. This is just to initialize the display. If you go to this, my function right here, this is the main function. It's to get data from the API. So I'm using the API key that I got from the OpenWeather. Once I made an account, I'm using that API key. I just put a random city down, Fort Mill. You want to put the URL so that actually Python knows how to actually request the website to get the data. This is what the second command's doing. And I was talking about the JSON thing before. This is converting all that data, which is in res right here, and converting it into something that's readable for the Raspberry Pi. So, okay, and this is just making sure that the city that I put in is actually found, meaning that I just didn't put something random and it doesn't know where to find that city. So if the city is found, it's gonna go into this. And I'm getting the live feels like weather, and I'm getting the live temperature. And this is just so it gets the data in Kelvin, and I'm just using this formula right here to convert that into Fahrenheit. So this is where I'm actually gonna display the data onto the OLED display. So the purpose here is to constantly refresh the data. I want to keep on getting values from the API server to constantly update my temperature and the feels like weather. So this is why it's in a while true loop. And I'm just gonna be drawing on the OLED display live weather, the temperature, and then the feels like weather and the feels like value. Okay, and then this is just the commands to display it. You want to make sure to have a time sleep down here, because if you don't have this, it's going to keep on calling values super fast, and it's going to be calling them so fast that the OLED display right here won't have time to refresh. So you're really just going to be stuck with the same value. And yeah, so once again, I'm using a while true loop. So whenever you're using while true loops, you always want to make sure that you have a way to get out of them. And that's what the keyboard interrupt is. All right, so let's see if this works. If you look at the OLED display, it shows the live weather, which is 88, and it shows the feels like temperature, 93.2. So it's pretty hot, but yeah. And if you look on the screen over here, it's constantly refreshing. The values keep getting updated, it keeps on refreshing. And yeah, so basically, I was always interested in how APIs work, and so I just thought, why not just take all the stuff that I learned about an API recently, and combine them with whatever I know about the Raspberry Pi to make like a mini project. So yeah, thank you, and I'll see you guys next time.